I'm kind of the new guy to Paulding County. I've been coming up here since '99. Two of our son and daughter-in-law moved up here in '99, so we've been coming up here 3-4 times a year since then. And they finally get busy and gave us 4 grandchildren. We got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old triplets.
Wow.
Yeah, tell me about it. You can't buy a gift for one. It doesn't work that way. So we've been coming up this way, and then when I get ready to retire down in, I worked in Miami-Dade County, South Florida. I did the law enforcement security operations for the mass transit system down there. On the heavy rail, we moved about 350,000 people a day. Buses, another 400,000 people a day. And they have a metro mover system that goes through downtown Miami, which is another challenge into itself since the county decided to make it free. Anyway, that kept me busy down there. And we decided when we retired where we were going to go. We've got another daughter that lives in Boston. I'm not going up there, it's too cold. And I got another son that lives in Los Angeles. That's definitely out. So we decided we'd come up here to Paulding County. And about 2 years before we retired, we hooked up with a real estate agent. We looked around and finally found a house. We live over in Creekside, in the portion that's within the city of Hiram, city limits over there. Our kids live in one of the other sections of the subdivision, which is not in the city limits, but they're 1.5 miles away from door to door, close enough we can be there when we need to, and not close enough the kids are over beating on our door all the time. So it worked out well. And as I was telling Miss White, got a soccer game that's in progress right about now, got a baseball game coming up after that, and then 2 of the girls go to gymnastics at night, so that keeps us a little busy. So, shortly after I moved up here, I met Sheriff Gulledge, I met Chief Van DeZandy from Hiram, and one day I'm minding my own business, and the chief called and he says, "Hey, how about if we meet for lunch one day?" So we did. He goes, "Well, I got a deal for you." They're trying to build a new evidence storage area for the city of Hiram, and he asked me if I'd help them put it together. So I've been volunteering there at the city for the last about 1.5 years, I guess, trying to get that project underway. Just had some final meetings the other day, so that should be heading along pretty soon. Having worked there for that 1.5 years, I got to meet all the employees that work there at the city of Hiram. They get some very good employees that work there, really nice people. And let's see, when was it? Late August, late August, I guess it was. Some people asked me if I would run for post 1. I've never run for an office before in my life. I initially wasn't up for it, like Ms. White says, who wants to get in this?
Yeah.
But anyway, I had heard that the gentleman who's my opponent, I had heard that he was looking to move out of state, so I didn't know if he was going to run or not. So I figured, why not? So I threw my name in the hat, and here I stand before you now, asking if you would, those of you that live and vote in the city of Hiram, if you'd be so kind as to cast a vote. And if you don't live there, if you know any people that do, if you could ask them to send a vote my way. There's a lot going on in Hiram. They're doing that sewer project. That's going to come to completion soon. The contractors went before the city council back in October, I believe it was, and asked for another 30-day extension. So it'll be a little bit longer getting done. Once that's done, and they get everything paved and looking pretty downtown, the plan is to try to draw more businesses into the downtown area. It's a great little downtown area. I think it really could be fixed up. It's got a lot of potential down there. They do a few special events down there throughout the year. They got a little downtown business council. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to do much this year because of the construction. But hopefully that'll get done. And as you know, Bill Caruth, they're working up on that project there to widen that area, and that should be done soon. Right the corner of Bill Caruth and 92, where the Catfish Den is, the restaurant, it hasn't been open since I've been up here, but the property owner there and the adjacent property owners have petitioned the city to become incorporated in the city of Hiram. And that was held, I believe that came up last month, or October the 6th. I wasn't here, I was out in Montana going to an old college football game, but so, you know, you've got this business coming in, you've got Bill Caruth is being widened, that's going to change the traffic pattern around the area. And 92, there's a project to widen 92 that's already started in Douglasville, and it's coming this way. With all that in mind, there's going to be a lot more development, a lot more traffic, things like that coming into the city of Hiram. You can't wait till it's all done to come up with a game plan. I think you need to have a little pre-planning. You have to do this intelligently. You don't want to just, you know, run into, you know, say, wow, holy cow, we got like triple the traffic, what are we going to do now? You know, you need to have a plan. Whether it's a good plan or not, you got to have a plan. Something to go by and something to work at. So my hopes, wishes, and dreams are that I can be a part of that and help them do some planning. Part of my other responsibilities when I was with Miami-Dade County, the state of Florida, after 9/11, 2001, the governor put in by law Regional Domestic Security Task Force, and they divided the state up into 7 regions. Our region was Region 7. It covered Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, and Monroe County, all the way down to Key West. So that was our area of responsibility. We met monthly, and, you know, we'd switch counties every month, and we met every month. And we had anywhere from 400 to 500 first responders that went to the meetings. And not only were there police, fire, EMTs, we also had hospital personnel, emergency operation personnel that were there. And what we did is we kind of planned out, we were divided up into committees. It was the law enforcement committee, the fire committee, the EOC committee, and we had a critical infrastructure committee. And I was the chairman there for 9 years. During that time, it was our responsibility to come up with safeguards for critical infrastructure. First of all, we had to identify which was truly critical infrastructure in southeast Florida. And we had 43% of all the critical infrastructure in the state of Florida was in our district, in Region 7. So that was a lot of stuff going on there. We had to identify these things. We had to come up with fixes for the security for those type of things. And part of that was to apply for grant funding through the Department of Homeland Security. So you have to identify the grant, pick projects that mesh with them, sit down and write up the grant, cross your fingers, hope for the best, and if you were awarded the grant, then you had to sit down and parcel it out to the winning projects. So that was kind of time consuming. We got a lot accomplished. We identified a lot of buildings down there. One of the things that I found kind of ironic was one of the things I was tasked with was identifying all of the Category 5 buildings in South Florida. Category 5 building is something that would stand 200-mile-an-hour winds in a hurricane. We had 2.
Wow.
There were only 2. And we get hurricanes fairly regularly down there. They haven't had any for the last few years, thankfully, but I was thinking to myself, you know, we're going to have 10, 15, 20 of these things. Now, I did the work on it. Our partners with the Department of Homeland Security and all of our people from each county did all the work, and we came up with 2. So that was kind of an eye-opening experience.